Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday to learn a little bit about working with results. This is your class. It's meant to be an introduction to the Discover dashboard. That's the toolkit that you use to work with your results. And I'll start with introducing myself so you know who I am when you're pinging me with questions in the chat. My name is Tila Beischer, and I'm a customer program manager here at ThoughtExchange. That means that I work with our partners like yourselves to train them up on how to use the tools and find the most value. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am Canadian, and yesterday was National Indigenous Peoples Day, so I am starting with a land acknowledgement, and I want to acknowledge that I am joining from the ancestral and unceded lands of the Silks Okanagan people. Here we have our agenda for today. So we're going to spend 20, 30 minutes together going through the Discover dashboard, which again is that toolkit to work with your results. This is where you get a really big picture and even gritty, you get granular into all the details using our patented analysis tools in that dashboard. The analytical tools there uncover actionable insights for you to really drive your business outcomes aligned with your exchange goals so that you can get speed to better. That's our goal today, is speed to better understanding of the dashboard. So by the end of today's session, you're going to really understand, how do I consider my objectives and align them with the strategy that I'm using when I'm going through the results? So what tools am I choosing related to what type of information that I need to find? I'm going to show you how to make edits in a theme set, how to duplicate one. We'll talk about all things theming. Then we're going to talk about reporting, which is one of the most important aspects of working with your results. At the end, we're going to participate in an exchange to ask questions. You can pop them in the chat while we go, but if you wait for the exchange, then everyone will have the opportunity to rate them and to respond to them. So that being said, let's hop in and start talking all about objectives and actionable insight. If you are here, I am guessing that you have run an exchange or are planning an exchange, so you're deep in that process of really understanding your objectives. This is the original reason for why you're running the exchange. So what is the information that you want to gather? What do you need to get out of that information? And how do you need to distribute it in different formats to accomplish your outcomes and to have a really actionable outcome? And so as you're working with the results and as we're going through the tools today, I want you to consider this exchange that you're focusing on or that you're here to learn about, and also future exchanges. What are your plans to use the results? So do you know I'm running a organization-wide staff exchange about engagement? I need to use the results with my people team to review them and to think about programming. And then I also need to share the results back with my stakeholders, so with my staff at the end of the day, so that we're closing the loop with them and so that they're aware of what outcomes are coming out. And what I would say is that when you're using the tools available to you in the dashboard, you're not going to use every single one for every exchange. Different ones are going to add different types of value based on what you're aiming to get out of it. And every exchange has different objectives. Let me give you another example. I want to give you two examples of different objectives. So if I'm running an exchange like I am today, I'm going to run an exchange with this group asking, what are your thoughts and questions about the Discover dashboard? My goal is to understand what are the highest rated questions in this group so that I can address them all together. The tool that I'm going to use in the dashboard for that is one that shows me the top thoughts rising up. So I'm just going to use the thoughts view and respond to that. That's how you would use ThoughtExchange if you were running a live exchange, if you are doing a agenda setting exchange, if what was important to you was just to know what are those top 5 questions that came up. If you're running a larger and more complex exchange, maybe you're running an organization-wide exchange about some strategic planning that you're doing, you're going to likely be doing things like segmenting using survey questions. You're going to want to understand themes. You're going to want to report back and have different variants of reports depending on who you're sharing and distributing the information with. So in that way, you're going to want to use tools like the themer. You're going to want to know how to use heat maps, and then you're going to want to understand how to use the different reporting options. So you can see there that really the outcome that you're driving or how you need to distribute the information kind of tells you what tools that you'll end up using. And so let's hop in and look at those together so that you have a really robust understanding of them and what's available to you. I'm just going to close off the chat window so that I can see my screen fully. But I'm going to start with showing you how to find the Discover dashboard. I'm curious if there's anyone here. Can you use the raise hand function if you've never seen a dashboard before? So this is all brand new to you. All right, we have about 20% of people that this is brand new. So I'm going to actually show you how to find the dashboard. So you're used to this list of Exchange views, and you can find the Discover dashboard here by clicking on Discover Dashboard. It opens up a new tab in your browser. This is different than the main dashboard, than the usage dashboard, in that it is unique to a specific exchange. And that's a really good thing for you to keep in mind, is that every exchange has its own dashboard. So if you're running an engagement strategy and you have 5 exchanges in it, you're going to have 5 dashboards, one for each exchange. All right, so let's dig in and go through the different tools. You always land here on Overview, which shows you your participation breakdown. This is an exchange that we run at the start of our Getting Started workshops. If you haven't attended one yet, they're an opportunity for you to learn about exchange design. And we ask people, what do you want to use ThoughtExchange for? What are the topics that you want to engage upon? So you can see I've had 76 participants, I've had 99 thoughts and 790 ratings. And down here, I'm able to actually ask a survey question and see the breakdown. So how many people attended each session? And then I'm also able to see a little bit of a survey question breakdown for a opinion question. So in this case, I was asking, what's your comfort level designing and hosting exchanges? If I was using this to inform my content and to inform who is my audience, I would think, all right, the majority of people that are coming to these sessions are brand new. So what's the information that I need to offer them as a brand new attendee? That's a way for you to really be able to using these to inform your understanding of the sessions and of the exchanges. The next tool that I'm going to show you is word cloud. And I think we're all familiar with word clouds, but ThoughtExchanges is unique in that it's using some AI to understand the conversation as a whole. This is a really powerful way for you to get a quick read on the exchange, and it looks great in a report. A lot of leaders will share this out on social media. They'll share it out over Slack with their staff or over email as a quick summary. Let me teach you some additional functionality, because this is a tool that looks simple, but has some layers for you. So the first thing is that the colors actually matter in this word cloud. So words that are from the same set of thoughts or similar set of thoughts are represented in the same colors. And so you can see that our planning for stakeholders and strategic, these are all the same purpley red color. And that means that they're all coming from a similar set of thoughts. I can even click on them and see what those thoughts actually are. It's a powerful way for you to understand a little bit more. The other thing that I can do is download this. So I don't need to take a screenshot. I can download it. You can also edit it. Sometimes words like the and other might end up in here. You can click on the word and it'll disappear for you. You can also remove the logo if you want to. So a little bit of functionality and power for you there to really represent your conversation and your discussion in an accurate way. The next tool that I'm going to show you is how to identify top priorities using the thoughts function. So remember that I said that the thoughts view shows you the thoughts in order of rating. This sounds simple, and again, there's layers of complexity for you to add on depending on how intimate that you want to know this data. So what I can see here, my top 3 thoughts, I can scroll through the pages and see what thoughts are rising to the top and understand and really read all of them. I can see how many people have rated each thought. And then over here, I have a bit of a view of the average star score. Some powerful things that you can do here as a leader to really be demonstrating two-way communication is to use this comment function. This is called a leader comment. It allows you to share a thought or share a comment in response to a thought. And when people are reviewing the reports that you will distribute at the end, they can see these comments on the report next to their thought. And so you can use these in a few ways. You could use them to, you can see here, here's an idea of something that you could do with this information. You could respond to and thank someone for participating. You could also use them for clarification. So if people are asking questions here, I don't know what to do about X, Y, Z. Have the leader comment, respond to the question. And then when you share the report out, you can share, we've also answered all the questions that came up in the exchange. And I'm going to do that with you at the end of this session so that you see exactly what that looks like. The other thing that you're able to do here is to filter by those survey questions that you might be asking. So if you've asked questions about demographics and opinion, and you want to know what were the top thoughts for people who said, I know a little bit, but I want to build my skills, you can see these are the top things that they're talking about compared to those who are brand new. So one way that a lot of organizations will use this is if they're running an organization-wide exchange and they've asked something like role, they're able to target and segment down based on role. So a good example of that is ThoughtExchange recently ran a culture exchange. And what we did was we had an organization-wide culture exchange, and our dashboard plan, or our Discover dashboard plan, was to have each team filter this based on their team. So for me, that's the customer success team. You could imagine I was clicking on customer success, filter it based on customer success, and then we're able to view those list of thoughts that were coming up specifically for our team is really important and talk about what we needed to do with that. Just an idea for how you could really get the most from this tool. You can also generate a report if you need to. All right, so that's the thoughts view. I know that we're zipping through this really quickly, and I'm just going to take a pause for, as you're going through the dashboard on your own and exploring, and you're thinking, I remember Tila said something about leader comments. I don't remember where they show up in the reports. You can always click on this question mark icon up in the top right, and you can search by anything that you need to know. This has our help site embedded in it, and you can see that a lot of them will have video tutorials for you too. So tips on how to use each feature, there's examples and stories embedded in, and then really practically even examples and templates, which I can find really handy. So remember that that is always there for you on every page when you're going through the dashboard. You don't even need to open it up in a new tab. All right, so let's move in and look a little bit about theming. So theming lets you organize your participants' responses into groupings that everyone can understand. There are a couple different options with theming. I know that some of you, I can see some familiar faces on the call. You've actually done some manual theming before. And that is when you're going through and setting up a theme set. So you're deciding what these bars are going to be and then adding thoughts into them according to how they might fit into that bar or that topic. The other thing that you can lean on as you're getting to used to ThoughtExchange is leveraging those AI themes. And if you haven't heard of these, AI themes are a system, an algorithm that's running on every single exchange to do your theming work for you based on keywords and topics that are coming up. So let me show you what that looks like. This is bars, which is one way to view themes. We also have a tile view. The same information, just two different ways to view it, depending on how your data visualization preferences or what your data visualization preferences prefer. I'm going to show you here what AI generated themes look like. So in this exchange, you can see they're coming up with community, they're looking at understanding, input, knowledge. But what we really wanted to do with this was to consider those three core pillars of usage. And so those are strategy, their performance, and their community or culture. These are the ways that we see people use ThoughtExchange to find the highest return on their investment and the most value. So we've actually themed the exchange under those three pillars. And I can see that here are all of my thoughts relating to community input, all of my thoughts related to alignment, and then all of my thoughts related to performance. This is a really powerful strategy for you to consider if you're running an exchange that goes along with a process, a program, a project that has pillars or outlined goals already set. And so a really good example of that is if you're running an exchange for a budget process. You likely already know what those different categories are with budget. You're able to theme it into those different categories, and then your report is really effective in that it's showing the theme categories accurately. Another way that you could use this, say you're running a culture exchange and you have your mission and values aligned already and you have keywords or key pillars to the culture, you could set those up as your theme categories and then add thoughts in. Let me show you how to do that. So you can edit these by just clicking on this theme tool here. First thing I'm going to highlight is the first time that you do this, use this Learn How to Theme walkthrough. This will walk you through exactly step by step what I'm doing here, but it is along with you. So it's basically like you have a coach in the product showing you how to do this. You click on this new button and you give it a theme set name. So I'm going to name this one Class June 22nd. And you can either create one from new. So I'm not having any pillars. I'm just going to create this 100% on my own, or you could copy your AI themes. This can be a really useful place to start if you're newer to theming and just getting used to it. Copying them will duplicate those AI themes, and then you can edit them. So you can rename them or shuffle thoughts around. I'm going to do that today so you see what that looks like. I click on Create. You can see it set up all of the categories for me here under Manage. And then I'm able to see all of the thoughts here in this working area over on the left. To add a thought to a category, it's a really simple, you click on the thoughts and then you click on the appropriate category. So it's just a click, and you've tagged them essentially into that theme. If as you're looking at this, you're feeling that these theme names could be better worded, you can change them. So maybe I want to say understanding and information distribution. Maybe instead of community, I want to write culture. Improvement, I'm going to write areas of opportunity. You can see that what I'm doing is just clicking on it and renaming it. I could also add additional ones in too. So maybe I wanted to have something in here about employee engagement. Type it in, click on add, click on OK. And so once you have all of your theme categories set up, you can again go through that clicking process, click and click. So that's the simplest, the lightest way to do theming. If you are interested in learning some more strategic theming as well, we have lots of resources on our help site about how to do that. What you would do is this exact same process of set up your theme categories here and then add the thoughts in to their appropriate category or their appropriate theme. I'm going to teach you 2 tricks to make this a little bit faster for you, because when people are getting started with theming, sometimes there's questions about how long does it take. I'll teach you a little bit. First, if you have a really large exchange, you do not necessarily need to theme the entire exchange. And by that, I mean, if you have an exchange with 1,500 thoughts in it, you could choose to theme the top X thoughts. So maybe you're theming everything that's rated a 4.0 or 3.9 and above. You can see they're sorted by rating score here. And that is allowing you to have a high agreement theme set, which you can then share out with your participants and your stakeholders. Here are the themes that were the most important to you or that you were rating the highest as a whole. The other strategy that I will teach you is to use this search function. So see, we have a search function up here. This allows you to search for a word and then to add that word in. So maybe I want to search for feedback. It shows me every single thought with the word feedback in it. And I can choose, I can select multiple. I can even select all if I wanted to, and then add them all into the theme category just by clicking on it. So it makes your work a little bit quicker. So that is theming. And again, once you theme, then you unlock these bars and these tiles here. The other tool that I'm going to show you before we hop into a exchange to ask more questions, I'm going to really quickly show you differences. Differences allows you to find common ground in the exchange. And so this shows me participants' areas of agreement. You can see the agreement is in the middle, and then areas of disagreement. And this is based on rating behavior. So you can see I have a group of 16 people. They all agreed that these thoughts in the middle were really important to them. They all are using it for strategic planning, for stakeholder group specific work. And then over here, this group is actually divided. Some of them are working on state funding, some of them are working on student input, and some on capital improvement projects. This is a really interesting tool to dig into if you have a gut sense that there is polarity in your participations, maybe even based on topics. So this is a really fantastic tool to lean into for culture exchanges, for anti-racism, diversity, and equity exchanges, and also for anything that is a little bit broader for the whole organization, so a little bit larger. You'll also often see this show up with specific interest groups. All right, last tool I'm going to show you is reporting, and this has two options for you. First is slides, and I'm going to click on slides here. This is fantastic for those of you on the call who may have once been the people creating slide decks as a summary of engagements. ThoughtExchange creates it for you automatically. So you can see there's a slide deck which you can export here. You can export it and then edit it in PowerPoint or Google Slides, whichever you prefer. But it has all the content that you would want to present. So I can say, hello to my leadership team. Oh, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Hello to my leadership team. Here is the exchange that I ran with our organization. This is how many people participated, what dates they participated, as well as some of their survey question information. You can see the word cloud here. Here are the top 3 thoughts in the exchange, the top themes, and you can even put your own themes in here. So if you've done manual theming work, you can embed that here. And then I can see a little bit more information. So the top 3 thoughts for themes can include differences if I want to. What I love about this is that you can hide different slides too. So if you didn't want to get that granular with your review, you can hide them and you don't necessarily need to review them. What I'm going to coach you to consider when you're reporting back is who are you reporting to and how do you need to share the information? If you're doing something live, so maybe you're in a meeting like we are right now and you want to talk through the results, slide deck is the tool for you. For those of you on the call, I'm guessing that you're going to have to also sometimes share reports back in a asynchronous way. So maybe that's, I want a landing page that has all of my reports and results for me. Just apologize for the background noise. I have nephews visiting and the toddlers are just playing upstairs. So you might hear a little bit of noise in the background. But let me show you through reports here. So this is your way to share an asynchronous view of what happened in the exchange. And people use these in a few ways. They will always circle back with their participants. Thank you for participating. Here's the report of the exchange. That demonstrates trust and transparency in the process. They are really easy to create. I'm going to encourage you to explore these using the help article here. So search reports, and then on your own time in your exchange, go through and edit yours as an opportunity to learn. The most important thing that I want to show you is how many customization options that you have. So you have exchange details, you can include the thoughts, you can include the theming. I'm going to click on save here because we're running a little short on time and I want to show you exactly what this looks like. This is the link that you could share out with your participants. So you can imagine if you had a landing page for your organization where you're posting ThoughtExchange results, maybe you have an intranet or you have somewhere where you're sharing those reports back, or you're just going to email this out, put it on Slack, put it in Microsoft Teams. This is the link that you share out to say, here's what happened in our exchange. And I can see all of the details myself as a participant. I could go through and read all of those thoughts. See, I can see those comment replies as well. I can see the themes that came up too, and have a lot of opportunity to really dig in. So that was the tour of the dashboard that we wanted to offer today. There's obviously more information in here, but we wanted to keep it pretty high level for those of you who are newer to learning about. What I want to do now is we were going to do an exchange, but we had some drop off over the period and over the time of the session. I understand it's a crazy busy week this week as everyone prepares for holidays at the start of July. So what we'll do instead of an exchange is perhaps just use the chat for a Q&A. If you have any questions, please add them in there and I will respond to them. We can also take you off of mute if you want to, and you can ask your question too. All right, so if you have any questions, now's the time. Please pop them into the chat and we will go through them and make sure that you all have exactly what you need to really get success from this first Discover dashboard process that you're going through. All right, I'm not seeing any questions rolling in yet. I'll give it another couple minutes, and if not, we can all wrap up a little bit early and get that 3-minute coffee break in our days. All right, we just have 3 attendees left here. So Emily, Hannah, Leah, or Ward, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. And if not, we can wrap up the session. Thanks, Hannah Lee. Thanks, Emily. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating today. Thanks so much for offering your time. If you have questions, we're here to support. Just reach out to ThoughtExchange. There's the help team. You can also reach out to your customer success manager. We want to make sure that this process is as valuable as possible for you and that you're getting what you need from the dashboard. So everyone have a fantastic Tuesday and take great care. Bye.